Oh, and we are live. What's good, people? Um, Unfortunately, just to let y'all know, I literally just woke up like 32 minutes ago, so I'm gonna be a little sluggish. Please forgive me about that. But if anybody that knows me, once we get started talking about money, I will be hyped and hyped as hell. So yeah. So a little back end stuff. How does my audio sound, people? Does my audio sound really, really good? Did I get that? So hopefully the audio sounds good. Okay, we got thumbs up from Miss Kimmy, Tech Valor, Redbird, sweet, sweet, sweet. Good, 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 good. Hey, Miss Full Roller. I'm sorry, can't really talk real good right now, but yeah, what's going on? What is going on? Real quick, before we all get started, just let you guys know I am streaming on multi platforms. MC Locks and Live, Cats Me Out Budget Solutions, and the two Twitter channels and whatnot. Um, the multi-platform streaming should be going away pretty soon. So if everyone can subscribe to Cats Me Out Budget Solutions, that's where everything will be done. Almost all of it should be done in the near future, hopefully. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. Hopefully we get some people come in, see people rolling in slowly. I guess I could do roll call real quick. Of course, roll call. I can't really talk right now. I don't know why. All right, I see Barry's in the building. Barry's up first, as always. And then Redbird's here. What's going on, Redbird? And then Miss Kimmy, of course, the Gadget Goddess, is in the building. Who else we got? Oh, Tech Valor, the DJ slash webmaster slash YouTube, legendary YouTube backend person. And then Miss Full Roller, what's going on? Oh, Sharky, what's going on, Sharky? I see you're up in the building too. Oh, I see Barry already got that link. Okay. Yeah, thanks Barry for dropping that link in that chat, in MC Locks chat. Alrighty, so anyways, welcome everybody. This is the budget meeting from Cats Meow Budget Solutions. And today's topic, what was my today's topic? I'm so sorry. I'm like out so lost. It's called Oh yes, credit and investing. Credit and investing. The credit part, it's an ongoing topic from last week and the previous weeks. Also, investing also came from last night's stream. Oh, what's going on, Jay? Will? Oh, you just got home and fired up the laptop. So let me get dinner and be right back. Yeah, no problem, Jay. No problem. I really do appreciate you stopping through. Really do appreciate it. Oh, I see Miss Full World found the channel and whatnot. Thank you, Miss Full World, for subbing. Anyways, so yeah, credit and investing. If anyone have any questions about either or, drop it in the chat. I'm not like the biggest knowledgeable person about investing, but I know that if you do invest, a couple things to do: make sure you don't invest in something you don't know, don't invest in something that you don't have the money for, like extra cash, and definitely just don't willy-nilly try to how to put it, don't look at investing as a way to hit the lottery to retire early. That's not how investing really goes. Also, just to let you guys know, there's a link in the chat to StreamYard to if anyone wants to hop on to actually physically ask your questions. Because I know it's actually hard to ask your questions in the chat because it can be taking other ways. So if you guys want to hop on and ask your questions, just go ahead and hop on. The link is in the chat. All right, I guess we're getting started. So my wife's asked, well, what have I invested in recently? Well, excuse me. The most recent one is really the Dogecoin. I literally had a couple $100 laying around a couple months ago. And I was like, why not? Let me go ahead and invest in that. I didn't really know too much about Dogecoin, but I know the history of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of those things that, not Bitcoin, but any cryptocurrency is one of those things that when you invest in it, it's really more for the long haul thing. Like if you invested in Bitcoin, like I think it's like 12, 15 years ago, you probably are a millionaire right now with some good coin if you kept the money in there long enough. Also, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually did invest in Popcorn World last year. So as a matter of fact, I hold a license to a shop up in the Chicago area with LeBaron Burton. So actually, I'm part owner of Popcorn World, just to let you guys know. And I had some money north of $5,000 that was invested in something else that I had received, that I had sitting there for about a little over 10 years. It did pretty well, but I looked into, me and LB's been talking for 2 years now. I looked into what he was doing and I saw that I could actually get a better return on Popcorn World than I did with this investment. So I pulled out my investment and moved it over to LB basically. And that decision didn't come lightly. I did have to really super think about it. And once I really thought about it, the decision actually ended up being easy. So it was basically like, for me, is like, did it take away from my family? No, it didn't. Another thing was it money that I physically saved and was saving for something else? No, it literally was investment from a previous job. Also, so it really didn't come out of my income to invest in that. So yeah, that's how I ended up investing in that. Also, Barry just dropped the link to Popcorn World, doingtheflavor.com, with the 20% off code KYMMI. That's Kimmy, KYMMI. Oh, what's going on, Easy? See you up in the building. Yeah, Easy, you must have heard about me talk about Dogecoin, so your ears must have been ringing. But just let anyone know, whoever's on my MC Locks channel, please come over to Cat's Meow Budget Solutions. Like I said before, I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this multi-streaming on all these platforms and Twitters, but Cat's Meow Budget Solutions is where it's at. Sharky says, awesome. That's called direct investing and is very smart if you believe in the company, its management, and its future. Exactly. So, and also it comes with a little bit of perks. I get to call LB anytime and tell him to rest because he got to make me my money. But it's but yeah, it's all fun. But if anyone have any questions, like I said, just drop it in the chat, or you guys could hit the StreamYard link to come in to see if anyone wants to come in. Oh, snap. I'm here streaming without my buds on, just in case someone comes in. I hope that did it. Hopefully you guys didn't hear an echo. I'm pretty sure you guys didn't because I didn't have no one else in here. Totally forgot to get on this. Oh no, I am on. Am I? Let me check something real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. I literally just woke up. I'm like the worst person in the world right now. Oh, anyways, we'll figure it out later. Sharky says, exactly. Keep LeBaron's feet to the fire. Yeah. Also, what's really cool, especially if you're investing, especially into someone or something, you have to have have to have some type of level of access to the person and to the company. I could literally call up LB at any point in time and ask him what's going on, and he will freely tell me what's going on, and the directions and whatnot. Barry says, yep, please feel free to join and ask questions. No pressure. You don't have to appear on camera unless you want to. Exactly. Yes, if you have a phone and if you have a speaker, go ahead and hop on and we could ask these questions. And also, on top of that, just to let you know, at some point in time, Popcorn World will be coming to Florida, to the Orlando area. And I don't know when it's going to happen. The time has to be right. But the pandemic, as a matter of fact, screwed everything over. I was actually supposed to open a shop last year, like literally. It should have opened like the day they shut down the whole entire country. But when there were talks about that and some other things fell through, and then the next thing we know, the country is locked down. I was like, crap. So we had to rethink the investment. And that's how I ended up investing in a shop up in the Chicago area. Oh, what's going on, Savage? See you in the building. Me and Savage on. I was on Barry and Savage stream earlier today. That was a lot of fun. Also with Jay Will joining for an hour and a half. So that was a huge bunch of fun. I see Easy made it. And everyone's saying hi to Easy. Savage says, Popcorn needs a location in Louisiana. I'm pretty sure something might happen. We'll see what happens. But I'm pretty sure there'll be a Popcorn World in Louisiana one of these days. Can I talk about how much to invest at the start? Kimmy and I start with 10,000. Oh, you guys didn't start with tens of thousands of dollars to investment, and people are surprised by this. All right, that's more directed at Dogecoin. Just to let you guys know, you guys could check out all these apps like Acorns. I'm using Robinhood, and there's a couple of other ones. Hopefully, the ones that you guys do look up and find that they're FDIC insured and stuff like that. But you don't need tens of thousands of dollars to invest. It's really just like if you budget your money correctly, you should be able to find some type of extra money in your budget. If you don't, then you have an income problem and an outgo problem. So for me, I've always operated my budget to where if I wasn't saving, I wasn't feeling right. So I've always had like a higher savings rate than most the average consumer for sure. Because I'm a truck driver, my income can go up and down at the whim, even with a dedicated account and whatnot. But if you manage to even squeeze out $10 a week out of your budget that you don't need to eat or survive, you can move that over into some type of investments. But this is where I'm slightly torn, because if you find extra money in your budget every single week and every single month, but yet you had to literally fight for that extra money while paying your house bills and all your creditors off, then I would suggest not investing at the moment and focus on your income and your creditors. Personally, for me, debt-free is like always the way to go, because you got to think about it. If you don't have a car payment, that's upwards of $500 to $600 a month. What would you guys do with like that's a little $6,000 to $7,000 a year? What would you do with $6,000 to $7,000 a year extra in your that you got nothing else to do without a car payment? And think about this: like, what if you don't have a mortgage? That's $1,000 to $1,500 a month. That's in your pocket. That's just laying around that could possibly doing nothing, and that's anywhere between 18. What is it like? That's anywhere between like $12,000 to like $25,000 a year, and that's just rent money, rent and mortgage. You could always take that type of money and invest it in something. Of course, you got to research whatever you're investing in, and know the returns. Me personally, anything that doesn't give you no less than probably about 8 to 10% less than 8% return, I don't. I won't even bother with it, to be honest with you. Easy, like, I got 1 million Dogecoin holding at 3 cents. I'm going to the moon. yeah, Easy. You're definitely going to the moon. Miss Full Whirler's like, I was going to ask your opinion on investing if you had debt, but you answered it. Yes. Yeah. Like I said, I'm so torn between it because a lot of people, I've had arguments up and down with people about like, oh, if you get an extra $1,000, then you should put it into investing. But if you have 100,000 while having $100,000 in debt, I think that's a little backwards because it's not really. The interest makes sense. If you have a mortgage at like say 3%, but the money you put to the mortgage, you put toward the extra money you put towards mortgage, and you can put it over here, you can get 10%. That's a 7% net on your money than putting it at 3%. But a lot of people don't realize the risk, and like a mortgage is not meant to be forever. Just to let you guys know, a car payment is not meant to be forever. All these things can be done right and properly if you budget your money and know where your money goes and whatnot properly. Barry says I would invest it and talk to Gigi and Easy about what I invest in. Yes, like that's where it goes to like, hey, you have to know what you're investing in. So like Easy, a lot of people don't realize that Easy is actually a good source to know about investing. He's been doing day trading for years. So Easy will always be up and willing to talk about investing as long as it's going to the moon. Sharky said exactly. It should only be after you have enough to pay your bills. Then set a rainy day fund of cash aside and then invest with whatever's left over. Exactly. That's exactly it. Even in my personal budget, that's exactly what we're trying to do right now. Miss Kimmy's like, yeah, I think everyone has something they can invest in. Just cut some of the fast food spending and things to do that are extra. Yeah, as a matter of fact, if people actually just take 2 hours, look at their bank account and see what they spend in a month, they probably could find a good bit of money extra in their budget. And it'll be surprising. Miss Kimmy's like, I'm saying like $20 or so a week, not hundreds and thousands. Yeah, that's exactly it. She started with $100 and I have over 1K in investments now. See, I believe Miss Kimmy did that a little bit over time. It didn't happen all at once. Well, just $100, people, just $100. Miss Forwaller's like, I'm debt free, so I definitely bias in the direction as it frees up so much of your life and options for your life when you are debt free. Yeah, exactly. When you're, oh man, for a little story here, for a couple of years, I did not have a car payment. No car payments was in this household. And it freed up so much money. I was able to pay off, I think it was close to $25,000 or $30,000 in credit cards and loans. Well, I don't know if there was loans, but I know it was a high dollar amount. And I don't even have that Excel sheet no more, but I kept the track of it. But I was throwing literally like anywhere between a minimum of $800 a month to my creditors, upwards of $1,500 to $2,000 a month, just because I didn't have a car payment, which was great. What are the names of some of the folks you all talked about on YouTube who discuss cryptocurrency? To be honest with you, I don't really follow anybody. I just basically listen to Easy whenever Easy drops a little nuggets here and there. Easy and Barry will probably be able to know some people on YouTube who to watch on YouTube for cryptocurrency. Savage says he only watch one streaming service per month. That's awesome. Oh, snap. LaShawn's in the building. What's going on, LaShawn? Sharky's like, if you work for a private corp or a government job, you should absolutely be investing in their 401k or 503b up to the company's match if you can afford it. Yeah, that's That yes, exactly, and I'm pretty sure Sharky will back me up in saying that most people who are technically millionaires in the country are millionaires because of their 401k and because of their matches through their jobs. Like, um, I know small businesses, if you get a 401k through someone who is a small business, and believe it or not, small businesses anywhere upwards of, I think it's 1,000 or 2,000 employees, you can do a 401k with them, but their matches are usually low depending on their income and their net profits and whatnot. So usually, I believe their base match is 3%. So you're almost guaranteed any company with a 401k has a 3% match. And me personally, I don't do my 401k at my job right now because I don't like their how they have everything set up, and I gotta stay with the company 5 years to be vested. And like, there's companies out there you spend 2 years and you get vested, but I would do three up to a match, which is 3%. I believe it's 3% with my company, and then I would go into a Roth IRA up to the max per year. And then anything extra over that, I would be investing either in myself for education to further my career and whatever I do, or basically anything that will help me make more money and income. And then I'll probably invest into the stock market for sure, whether it be cryptocurrency or just regular stocks. Miss Kimmy's like, yeah, over time, not overnight by any means. Exactly. Savage says he got rid of Disney Plus and he will wait to the end of the year for the next Disney series and binge watch to the current episode. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that'll free up. I think Disney Plus now is like $17 a month or something like that, $20 a month. So, yeah. Jay will ask if a person self-employed does not have a way to get a 401k, saving a certain amount monthly would work, or putting aside 30% of your pay each month. Yeah, exactly. And as a matter of fact, if you are self-employed and you are the only, you're the only employee, you can get what they call a SEP, which is a self-employed. Oh crap, Sharky, you probably have to help me on this one. It's like you can get your own type of 401k. If you're, which is called a SEP. I can't even remember what a SEP stands for. It might be self-directed IRA, but it's it's basically a 401k for business owners who are just, by themselves and whatnot. Also, yeah, saving the 30% per month will actually do for sure. Even though when your taxes come, you probably won't be spending the whole 30% for taxes. Like, you probably end up paying the government maybe 21%. You have 9% left over for the year, which then in turn you can actually put that into some type of investing or reinvest back into the company or whatnot. Septine's like, I'm halfway done with my self credit builders. Septine being responsible and stuff. Oh, that's awesome, Septine. Curious, what is your self credit builder? Is that something that you're doing on your own, or is that an actual company that you're working with? Septine's like, I don't know how much is going into my 401k. I think it's 5%. Whoa, real quick. That comment, I don't know how much. When it comes to money and budgeting, you need to have a general idea on how much is going where. Because if you don't, you can mess around and one or two things will happen. Either you will mess around and have a ton of money, or you'll mess around and lose a ton of money. So you should always know where things are going. And also in your 401k, you should know where your investments are going to, or at least have a general idea of what the return is and whatnot. Lon, I see you made it. I'm so excited and happy. Like I told you last night, I made this channel specifically for you, sir. But anyways, he says, howdy, I do 10% right now into his 401k. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, Latrell says, hey, Mr. Catwoman. Hey, just to let you guys know, quick reminder, anyone on my MC Locks and Life channel, please come over to Cat's Meow Budget Solutions. I don't know how much longer I'll be doing this multi-streaming thing on finance and whatnot on all my YouTube and the Twitters. So if everyone can please hop over to Cat's Meow Budget Solutions. and whatnot. And also, if anyone wants to actually physically come on and ask a question, the link is in the chat. The StreamYard is in the chat. All you need is like basically some type of audio, basically a phone. All you need is a phone, and you can come on. You don't need to turn on the camera or anything like that. So Red Barry says most of the 24/7 Bitcoin and Dogecoin channels are solid. Easy GG and myself will drop hints during Wired Wednesday. Feel free to DM me if you have any questions after watching the channel. There you go. And I'm pretty sure Barry will be okay with anybody DMing him. Lon's like, Disney Plus is free with Verizon along with Hulu and ESPN Plus. Of course, you pay the high price of Verizon. That's actually, Lon, that's actually really good to say. Sometimes some of these companies, their prices can be high for their services and whatnot, whether it's you're buying retail or getting something done from them or any type of streaming service, any type of service whatsoever. Investigate the company. If it's high, there might be a good reason for it because the perks on the back end will actually outweigh their price. So always research, like everyone knows Verizon is like unbelievably expensive. But with that Disney Plus bundle, you know what, it can actually lessen the blow of that high price. And Verizon actually has some more perks and whatnot, especially if you're a truck driver. You get a discount through them, of course, military, and other stuff also. Sharky's like, GG, slow and steady wins the race. It's all about long-term, staying diverse, and managing risk. Too many just want to get rich quick, but don't know what they're doing. Wind up losing it fast. Exactly. The get rich quick. It's that term, fake it till you make it, you know. But like, it just takes time. Septine says Self is an app that allows you to build credit over time with a CD. Don't tell me the certified. No, Septine, you might want to. I have an issue with CDs because like it can lock your money into a contract, and it has one of the worst rate of returns. Like you'll get like 2%. Like if you put $1,000 in there, you get a 2% return, and it's locked in for 6 months to a year. But you know, what if something comes up to where you need $1,000, and it's like to take a quick class, to get a certificate in some type of online computing or something like that, but that certificate can make you an extra $10,000 to $15,000 a year, and your money's locked into a CD. And also a CD to build credit. That sounds more like that sounds more like a, what's that thing called? A really bad secure credit card. So you might have to rethink that. It does not sound good off the rip. Septine says his 401k is through his job. He's like, I work for one of the biggest online retailers in the world. Craig, I think I'm buying in 5% of my income. Do we got a Craig in the building? But anyways, 5% of your income. Like I said before, knowing where your stuff is going, 5% is a good. If they're giving like a 3% match, that's actually really good too. Barry says, yes, Septine, you're saying that you should find out more for sure. I know exactly what goes into my 401k and how much my company's also matches. Also, I pick what stocks that I invest in. Yeah, that's so true. A lot of these companies will allow you to pick what to invest in. But usually, like I said, smaller companies have less, depending on who's managing the whole entire portfolio, they won't have a big diverse amount of stuff to invest in. Yeah, Sharky says, I don't recommend CDs with interest rates so low right now. If you need money quickly, you'll be hit with early withdrawal penalties, so you wind up losing some of your principal. Yep, exactly, Sharky. That's why let me put it to you this way. It was either me or my dad had a CD, and it was in the bank for like a year, but it made next to nothing. It was literally like a 1.25%. And this was like 30 years ago. And so I knew even back then I did not like the CD because there was so much, the penalties if you took out at such and such time, and if you take everything out, it was just a hot mess. It was a hot mess. Septine says CD might not be the right term. Basically, I pay $25 a month to build credit, and it reports to the credit bureaus. Well, Septine, if you took that $25 and paid down a credit card, it does the same thing and it lowers your debt. And as a matter of fact, this comes to what they call in the industry debt to income ratio. If your debt to income ratio, if your debt is higher than your income, you most likely got a bad credit score. But if your income is higher than your debt, you will definitely have a really good credit score. So paying someone $25 a month to build credit, like, do you even get back your money after you finish with them? And if you don't, then you're paying $25 a month for nothing, to be honest with you. Latrell says, I always keep the companies in check. As soon as my bill is too high, I hit them with the Better Business Bureau complaint. AT&T tried getting, but they ended up crediting me over $1,000 over time. Latrell, be very careful with that complaint letter, because just to let you know, Sharky might be able to help me with this. There's a letter that you can send to a creditor and to the credit bureaus, and it can remove stuff from your credit report. Basically, you send it to the creditors and the credit bureaus, same exact letter. If the creditors doesn't respond in 30 days, then the credit reporting companies is required by law to remove it off of your credit report. But what nobody knows is you can do it, say, this month and get it off next month, but 2 months down the line, it can go back on your credit report. I've actually done that in the past, and I was like, you know what? Never again. I'm never doing that ever again. Because it was just a waste of time at that point in time when I could have just paid stuff off. Septine says, yes, you get your money back once it's done. Yeah, Septine, you might want to look at that. If it's a certain date, look. Just calculate how much money you've put in and see how much money you're getting back. And if it's not what you put in or more, then it's horrible. And even if you put in more, even if you get back more than what you put in, even if it's not under, say, 7%, then it was definitely horrible to do that. That was literally just a waste of time. Septine says his company took away stock options last year. You know the one. Nah, a lot of companies did a lot of things last year. I do not know which one. But if they took away stock options, and what they probably most likely did is they just upped their match. They'll usually do something else, but usually it's for the betterment of them. Lon says, yeah, Sharky, our company contracts at half of the investment up to 6%. So, okay. So it's basically a half a penny for every percent that you put in, up to 6%. But typically he matches every year at 6%. We are lucky in our benefits that as we get 30 days paid vacancy or vacay, 7 days a week paid, and medical. Oh, wow. So you get a total of 37 days of basically paid off time per year. Does that stack? Because if it stacks, you are in a line. You got a really good company going on there. And then 3% match up to 6%. Yeah, that's actually really good too. Lon says, yeah, Sharky, I get job offers all the time for the money, but don't leave because of the benefits and relationship. Lon, that's a good way of thinking, but that can be a double-edged sword. To stick with the company for the benefits and not go somewhere else for more money can be detrimental. Usually the best thing to do is just add up what you're losing compared to the money that you're going to be making to really determine that. 9 times out of 10, if you're making say $20,000 a year, you love your job, and you get all the benefits in the world. But if I was to come up to you and be like, hey, I want you to do the same exact job, but I'm going to pay you $60,000 a year, you know, like just the 20 and 60, this no brainer. You'll go with the $60,000 job. But look at it like this. If the $20,000 a year job doesn't give you $40,000 worth of benefits, then you got to leave. This is a no brainer. You can leave. Septine says, I was in debt because of a credit card bill because of my little brother and literally had no credit history. Oh, Septine, just to let you know, that's one of the things I don't like. It's not a good idea to co-sign with family members or friends, because that can and most likely will get you in trouble. In the end, it actually has for me. I co-signed for a house like 10, 15 years ago, and I was paying for it for about 10 years. So yeah, and yeah, not a good idea. But if you're married to the person, legally, one way or another, if something happens, both individuals will be in trouble. So being doing credit stuff with your spouse, that's that's really good. And also, it's actually a good way to build credit too, when you have a spouse. Septine says, nope, no more debt. My credit score has soared from 2020. Oh, that's good that it soared, but if it costs you $25 a month to do it, and if you might not get a return, that could be bad. Miss Kimmy says, yeah, she paid off the majority of her debt and gained that she gained during her divorce off during the pandemic without outside help. I sat down, did the math, and who I owed and who I should pay first. Exactly. Some people most call it the debt snowball. Basically, you add up your creditors smallest to largest and start paying the smallest and keep it going. And there's another way. They call it I think it's the debt avalanche. You look at the interest rate of all your creditors and pay off the highest interest rate first, and then keep it going. But sometimes the highest interest rate can be your highest bill, so you could be paying on that for a very long time, and it looks like you're not going anywhere. Latrell says, nah, bro, I think you misunderstood me. Lon was talking about expensive cares, and I was talking about how AT&T overcharges me on my bills. They didn't report my account to collections or anything. Oh, okay. Latrell says, I hate debt. If I can pay for it with a debit card, I won't pay for it at all. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Latrell says his credit score is in the 700s. Oh, that's not bad for your age. Actually, that's really good. Septine says, self-help, build my credit up to 680. Okay, that's cool. Miss Kimmy's like, that is why I asked if you had debt, Septine. I guess I'm confused on why you paying someone you should call and Cecil probably is lost too. Yeah, I'm still slightly lost. Like, if you have no credit and you're paying someone to build credit, like, to be honest with you, if you have no credit and you want to build credit, go to your bank and get a credit card. Like, and just let it be and just let it sit there. Like, you could probably do one transaction on it, like a large transaction, like $100 or $200 transaction, and slowly pay the minimum payments for 3 months and then pay it off and then let it sit. And you'll, over a period of time, your bank will come to you and be like, hey, we just upped your credit limit. And the next thing you know, your credit score goes up, So like, you don't need to actually pay somebody that you may not get a return on. That can be that's risky. That's more risky than a credit card, to be honest with you. Anyways, Miss Full Roller says, yes, debt snowball, pay off the highest interest first. And then she says the debt avalanche, start with the smallest one first. They basically are the same, just order in which you continue to roll off the debt is reversed. Actually, I think you got it backwards. I'm almost positive because I listen to Dave. Well, not unfortunately, but I do listen to Dave Ramsey every day. And the highest interest, I'm almost positive the highest interest is the snowball, is the avalanche, and the snowball is the lowest, lowest principal pay, lowest principal, not principal payment. Sharky says, Lon, you're smart to not just jump at the first offer. If you're happy and treated well where you are, the grass is always greener on the other side of a septic tank. Yeah, exactly. Lon says he understands that. I'm not crazy. Ha ha ha. It's usually around $5,000 a year off. Oh, $5,000 a year more per offers. I'm really just comfortable. Oh yeah, if it's only $5,000 a year, yeah, you're good. You're good. Definitely good. But if it's 20 or 30,000, you might want to, sit back and take a shot and really think about it. Latrell says he listens to Graham Stephan mostly. Okay, that's cool. Jay Will's back. He says maintaining good credit, having one of these at the same time, auto loan, credit card, one unsecured loan. People who take high rates have bad credit, which where the snowball comes in. Yeah, exactly. And that's actually another thing. When building credit, you do have to, it's always good to show an auto loan, a credit card, and an unsecured loan, which could be a personal loan. Like, for me, I did that with my, okay, here we go. Perfect story. An auto loan. I bought a car probably when I was about 18. No, I bought my truck when I was like 20, I think. I paid it off. Totally paid off. Unfortunately, I don't recommend people do this at all, but I had co-signed for one of my mom's vehicles back in the day too. Luckily, she actually paid it off too. So I had 2 cars totally paid off for at the time. And then when I went to go get my next car several years later, they gave me a low interest loan. I want to say it was like 4.5% on a car where my credit score was like at a 620. And that was because on my credit report, it showed that I had paid off 2 car loans in a quick amount of time. And the auto loan people were like, and this was Ford Credit too. It was Ford Credit. I remember that. It was Ford Credit. And oh my God, they loved me. And after I paid off Ford Credit, the next time I went to go finance a car, they were like, holy cow, like you paid off a car through Ford Credit? And I was like, yeah, I would love to go back with them, but I'll take anybody. So they actually ended up financing the car through my local bank. And when they went to pull my score to finance the car, my score was over 800. And everyone in the room was like, oh my God, like the finance lady and the guy who was selling me the car, he was like, holy cow, 800 something? Oh, wow. Like they almost fell on the floor. It's pretty great. That was pretty cool. Latrell says, this is where PLS and other cash loans prey on lower income people with high rates because they have no other option. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Payday loans, is ridiculous. Like they're charging 300 to 400% for their payday loan. So like you get a payday loan today, say $500, and if you don't pay it back within 2 weeks, and the service fee is like $25, $30, which sounds pretty good. You get $500 right away. But if you miss the 14th day, they start charging interest. So like within a month, that $500 that you borrowed can end up being like, say, $1,500 to $2,000 that you have to pay them back. Ms. Kimmy said, I transferred my highest rate card to a 16-month 0% interest card, and I will be debt-free before 2022. That way I was giving away money. Oh, that way she wasn't giving away money to a high interest rate card. Yeah, that's true. And some people can get 0% interest. You still have to have an okay credit score to get the 0% interest cards. Especially if you have a good relationship with your bank, they will offer you 0% credit cards. Jay Will says, credit a trap it must be credit is a trap altogether. They want people to have bad credit before people have good credit. because they don't make money off us with good credit. That's exactly right. Like, unfortunately, you're not born with good credit. You're born with no credit. And then to get credit, you have to go into debt and pay off, not necessarily pay off the debt, but you have to start paying interest on the debt. And then somebody in the cubicle will be like, oh, we're going to give you a credit score. And then to build that credit score, you have to borrow, in some ways, you have to borrow more money and pay people the interest on that money to actually build your credit, to have good credit, to where you could actually borrow money with 0% interest, like with credit cards and auto loans and stuff like that. It's the system is made to oppress. But just to let you guys know, you can get above the system, but you just got to know what you're doing to get above the system. And then once you get above the system, pass it along to your kids, your grandkids, so that this system will no longer have power over people, period. Everyone's agreeing with Jay. And Miss Kimmy's like, oh, Sharky, I've been putting things off because as a single mom, I just had tons on my plate. Glad to see the light at the end of the tunnel now. And Miss Kimmy, I kid you not, once you feel the weight of no extra monthly payments, you're going to be like, holy cow. You're going to be like, why didn't I do this sooner? And and as a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why I started the channel also. I have so many reasons, but another one is single mothers. I really do appreciate single mothers. You guys go through so much and do so much. And hopefully I'll be able to help a lot of single mothers on this path that I'm on, because I always look up to you guys. You guys do so much in this world today. It's unbelievable. Septine says back in 2004, says his little brother racked up a cell phone bill buying a bunch of mobile games, and bill went from 56 to 461. He said he wouldn't buy it, so the debt grew, and he never co-signed with him. Oh, okay. It's one of the things with bills and whatnot. Well, you could look at bills the same way as creditors. Best not to co-sign, period, because it can ruin you. J. Rule says that's correct, sir. They make you go into debt, I guess, on earth your way. I have 0% and took a long time to get there. I float a small amount of credit cards sometimes just so that I can skate under the radar. And see, when you get to like J. Will status, there's a lot of tricks and stuff like that you can do to still maintain a high credit while floating money around, while still investing, and while not paying such a high tax bill. But those, I'm not really here to teach those types of tricks. I'm just here to teach you guys, like, manage your money. And then I want you guys to get to that level. And that's where you can go to somebody else. Like, I'm pretty sure Jay Will knows of people who are good with talking to about stuff like that. Latrell says, yeah, just seeing those high numbers of debt can definitely put you in a dark spot, unfortunately. And some people feel like there's no way out and there's trapped in a quarter. Credit ain't no joke. Definitely credit ain't no joke. Also, a lot of people don't realize this, but your income does affect your credit. Believe it or not, that's partly because of the debt to income ratio, and whatnot. Hold on real quick. Quick story about that. When I became a truck driver, I don't know why I was at the bank, but somebody at the bank told me, be careful on how you file taxes if you decide to own your truck. Because in trucking, I can buy a truck today and run it for a full year, and I literally can bring in $250,000 gross revenue. But after fuel and everything like that, and all the tax stuff, the lady was like, you probably end up with like $60,000. Because she had a guy who was grossing a hell of a lot of money, but his previous tax returns showed that he made under $60,000, and he could not get qualified for a $250,000 house, even though he technically had the income for it, but the way how he reduced his tax liability didn't help him, and also the current debt that he had on the business, which was in his name, and other personal debt. He could not afford the house. So yeah, you have to be careful when it comes to your income and credit. Also, another thing is like all these credit card places and payday loan people, they're preying on people who don't have the income to pay these interest rates, and they're making money. We basically got to stop that, people. Like that's not good for us as a people, and making them rich off of us little people. Nah, we definitely got to stop that. Miss Roller says debt free is the only way to be. Exactly. I'm trying to get there. I'm not perfect, but at least I'm able to actually manage my money. And if anything comes up, I can afford a $3,000 or $5,000 emergency cash out of pocket. So I'm so happy that I'm at this spot now. Alon says, "Yep, Latrell. Sometimes it's more important. It's more important how you're treated. I've worked corporate, and it's not a warm feeling." Sethian says, "I don't know much about money, but I know for a fact payday loans are trash." Exactly. Latrell says, "Don't put yourself in a spot where you're struggling, working 3 jobs a day, making your life miserable because you make some loans screw ups." Just to let you know, let me piggyback off of that. If you have to work 3, 5, 6, 7 jobs to pay off creditors and stuff like that, I would highly suggest you do it. Will you be miserable? Yes, you will. But go into it with a plan, and when you're going to totally not do it anymore. Don't just go into it thinking that, oh, I'm going to be working 3, 5, 6, 7 jobs the rest of my life. No. That's not the case. You will only do that only if you don't manage your money, if you don't have a plan. Oh, what's going on, Sharky?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. No big echo or anything?
No, actually, no. Anyone else hear echo? I don't think no one else hear echo.
Cool.
Wait, Sharky, this is the first time you've probably been on a stream, right?
Yeah, I think it is actually. So there you have it.
Oh, wow. I feel honored. Like, I know you've been around on everyone else's stream all the time.
I'm honored. So I had a question for you. And it could apply to Barry and other people too. Easy, Eric. And so I've been investing in stocks for over 20 years. I've been investing in trading options for close to that amount of time, bonds for probably more than that, 25 maybe or so. I've been tracking, crypto, and I some pretty good idea how it works, and haven't really dipped my toe in yet. I'm waiting for a pullback, and like a lot of people are, I think, at this point, right? I guess the question I might have for you guys is, so what platform do you guys use? I know I've heard of Coinbase. I know there's a couple other ones. I've been tracking the GBTC. If you look at that ticker on Yahoo Finance or anywhere else, it's basically it's sort of like an ETF. It tracks it's 1/1000th of the value of whatever Bitcoin currently is. Now there's a tracking error, so it's a little bit less than that. Right now, Bitcoin's around, I think, 61,000 per coin.
Yeah, 61, 63,000.
Yeah, and so GBTC is around 50. I think it's around 51. So it's actually trading at a discount to, which is kind of cool. Trading at a discount to the coin itself. So I've been thinking of getting in that, although I like to see a little more of a pullback. What I don't like about it, and I'm not surprised, like I'm on Fidelity. I've been with them for about 14 years as a discount broker, and they treat me really well overall. But I have a margin account, but with that particular vehicle, they require 100% margin requirements. So just so people know, that means it's basically like cash. In other words, if you want to buy 100 shares of that stock, you're going to have to put up an entire 5,100, over $5,000 and $5,100. So, which is fine, but I'd rather wait for a little more of a pullback. So, with the Coinbase and others, I understand what you can just put in you can just what you just do like incrementally. You can just do smaller amounts, and it's not
Yeah, well,
necessarily
for
margin.
my
It's like a cash account, and then
yeah.
basically you just jump in. You can put it, and you can add to it, or you can now. Can you sell? Can you take out or add to it whenever you want as well?
On the apps, yeah, I personally use Robinhood. It's the first time ever
Okay.
because I've been so reluctant into investing into a cryptocurrency. But like I said earlier, I literally had a couple $100s laying around. I was like, let me just go ahead and try it out, and it's actually worked out pretty well for me. 4 times the money. Unlike, I kind of wish I got in earlier. I probably could have, made tenfold. I've heard of Coinbase, but Barry will probably have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Coinbase actually allows you to buy the actual cryptocurrency, as where Robinhood and like I don't know about Acorns, but as in Robinhood gives you like a percentage, not a percentage, but like a piece of, like if you put $1 in, you get that dollar's worth of the stock of the coin. So like if you put in like say $6, if you put in $6 for Bitcoin, that's like what 0.00001% of that, and it'll grow by the percentage of the of what the coin is worth and whatnot.
Right.
So
Right.
Barry says Robinhood plays games, but they have an awesome graphing, but again, they play game with Dogecoin or any stock that rallies up. I think that playing games part, I think he's referring to like they'll stop people from buying, which I think is messed up.
Right.
Which seems really weird because I don't think you could do that in the stock market, like unless the whole entire market shuts down.
They can, and they have occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah. So the whole thing, if people recall, about 2.5 months ago, the whole incident
GameStop?
with GameStop, exactly, and they actually did halt trading on it a couple times. Very controversial. Part of the idea is, oh well, it's a scam to help. I believe it was called Melvin Capital, was a big hedge fund that had really overspin out. Unfortunately, again, the big boys can sometimes get to play with the rules. We all know occasionally, too often probably, they shouldn't be allowed to at all. But they had essentially overshorted GameStop, right? So then the Robinhood people all jumped in as a result of the Wall Street bets from Reddit, right? And they drove it up. It's called a gamma squeeze or short squeeze. And Melvin Capital and another big hedge fund backing them called Citadel were all forced to buy back GameStop from their shorts at massive losses. As the stock kept going up, GameStop kept going higher as long as these thousands of Robinhood people, investors were buying GameStop, right? So that put them at massive losses. So the idea is that they can halt trading. It kind of allows the hedge fund to kind of buy it back at a set level and reset, so they don't take on further losses. A lot of people don't understand with short sales. It's really just a massive. It's a loan, right? And you have to pay interest on it. So it makes it doubly bad if you start losing money. So say you short at a certain level, right? And then the idea is you're hoping to. Classic fundamental investing is buying low and selling high, right? When you're shorting, the exact opposite. You're hoping to short, in other words, sell it high and then buy it back low, right? So when that doesn't when that doesn't work out, but you have to if you're taking on there's a whole having worked for brokerage firms, this whole department's called stock loan that kind of help manage that process. And you have to pay an interest rate on that loan. So you better be right. You better have done your research, and you still better hope. You still have to manage risk, and you better hope that it all works for you, right? Because when it doesn't, that's where you really run into trouble. Because not only, you still have to pay back the loan, the interest rate on the short loan, even if you make money. If you're losing money, you're not only having to pay back the interest rate on the loan, you're also having to you're also taking capital losses on top of that. So it's a real debacle at that point. So that's why I don't recommend shorting for people. Naked shorting options like calls or puts, especially calls, or even just straight up shorting stock, unless they know what they're doing. You really need to do the research. You really should have a game plan as far as risk management. Whether it's stop loss orders or options or what have you, because otherwise you wind up getting in hot water. You can get in hot water very quickly, and a lot of even it shows the whole thing with GameStop showed that people, professional traders who had been in the market for years, can still lose a lot of money very quickly. You could just imagine, extrapolate that out to smaller investors who have no idea what they're doing, but maybe just have some X amount of, tens of thousands set aside, and then maybe, whatever money they inherited or whatever, and they jump in, they try to naked short things, and they wind up getting burned, and they lose some or all of it rather quickly because they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, I remember. What year is this? 2021. Yeah, 20 years ago, I had a grocery manager at the place I was working at. Every Sunday, he would pick up the Sunday paper, and he'll go to the financial section, and he'll just look at stock prices from the previous week, how they closed on Friday. And he did a lot of research. It was a hobby for him. It literally was a hobby, and I think he made a pretty good amount of money. But it was only a hobby, but he put in a lot of time, like researching stock. Like he will look at the stock prices and stuff like that. And then he'll actually go and research the company, see who owns it, who's running it, where they were a couple of years ago, where they are now. And he could actually kind of sort of project where they're going to be. I believe that's what a lot of these people who bought into Apple years ago and Microsoft years ago probably did in the beginning stages, to see where they were going to be, and made off a lot of money. But like that whole GameStop thing last year, that GameStop, that slightly bothered me a little, because like now there's a lot of people who are investing, but they don't know what they're investing in. So they're just throwing money into the market. But what people don't realize is them throwing money into the market will actually help out the bigger people who know what they're doing to take the money.
Exactly.
So like, Sharky, I heard that you possibly will be making a channel about stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That channel actually should be able to help a lot of the little people so that they don't get, messed up and shorted. Because jumping into something that you don't know, it high risk and high reward, but you can lose everything plus more if you misstep,
I'm gonna tell you something. The biggest misconception people have, I've been asked this question myself over the years. Maybe you have too. It's like the thing that people, and again, goes back to the whole get rich quick thing, right? And they'll say, well, how much money do you think I can make from XYZ stock or XYZ, I don't know, crypto? It could be anything, right? And option, anything, right? Commodities like gold, silver, what have you, right? Let's say, well, how much money do you think I can make? The question you should be asking, that's a completely wrong approach. The way professional investors and traders do it is the first question they ask is, how much can I lose, right? So that's really the essence of risk management. You really need to look at, how much can you lose and how much can you afford to lose, right? Because that's the way to look at it, is the gains will take care of themselves. Now, Babe Ruth didn't hit just like Babe Ruth didn't hit 1,000 in his career. Warren Buffett doesn't get everything right. George Soros doesn't get everything right. A lot of big professional investors, if you read, I read a few years ago, I read a book I can recommend for people, even though it's a bit old, is Peter Lynch's One Up on Wall Street. Peter Lynch was the former head of the Fidelity Magellan Fund, which is still a very big, very popular mutual fund that Fidelity runs. And, these are the kind of things these guys preach is, you have, like you say, you just mentioned a couple minutes ago about stressing fundamentals and, again, diversification, long-term, but the risk management side is just so important, because a lot of people just, the gains won't always be there. You're gonna, I get stuff wrong, and I've been doing this a long time, but if you have the right discipline, you can absolutely make money in the stock market, or I guess you could say in crypto or in options or anything. But you have to go in with the right mindset of, first, defining your risk, doing the research, defining your risk, knowing what you're doing, understanding what it is exactly you're buying or selling, right? A lot of people don't. They just say, oh, well, I'm just gonna jump in, what the hell, man? Everyone's talking about this thing, and another misconception while we're at it is, a lot of, and this is something Warren Buffett preaches, one of his most fundamental tenets is, be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy, right? So what that means is just, in other words, when you hear like your cab, or Uber, or Lyft driver talking about, oh, Bitcoin or gold or some hot stock or whatever, that's probably the time you should look to maybe, if not completely get out, at least be very careful, because that means it's what they call a very crowded trade. There's already a ton of people in it. And that's when it starts to get a little dicey, right? If you look at the market even right now, and we hit another high, I believe, on Friday, right?
Isn't that north
All-time
of
high.
34,000, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's really getting. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to come crashing down any second, right? Some people say, well, law of averages, or gravity. What goes up must come down. Well, it's not always quite that, black and white or cut and dry, but but sure, there's a concept, called the wall of worry, which is the higher the problem is valuations get stretched, the higher the market goes. And that's when, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, whether it's GameStop or something else, some of those shorts with GameStop could always reset and then start driving it back down. Maybe a bunch of other hedge funds will short it and jump in and knock all these, and then all these people who don't have risk management, who are in GameStop currently, will get burned and they don't have any protection or risk management, and they'll just lose whatever they have now at whatever. I think it's about 120. I kind of track it about every couple of days, $120, $130 a share, and they wind up losing it because like you just said, they'll just reset. This is kind of like we talk about casinos. The house always wins. Too often the big money does win. Well, it's not necessarily because they're big they win. It's because they're smarter. Because they know how to do these things better. They've been doing this for years, and they know how to manage the risk. And they have very strict buy and sell disciplines. Now, again, they're not always right. They got way too greedy with GameStop, and that's why they got burned. And obviously didn't have enough risk management. I don't think in a million years any of them ever thought what would happen with GameStop would happen, where there'd be like this mini little revolution of tens of thousands, or however many it was, of so-called small investors jumping in and driving the price up, and basically, making all these couple big hedge funds lose the money they did, But the point is, it could happen at any time, So they got burned by being too greedy. Now, the fear I have, like you said, with GameStop in particular, or anything similar to that, I know BlackBerry. There's a few others that are kind of in the same Bed Bath and Beyond. The concern or fear is what happens now is, you start driving them up, and there's always, again, they can reset and come crashing back down. There's no guarantee of anything, right? So you really have to manage the risk and understand that, especially these companies that kind of, you might say, like GameStop and BlackBerry, they're kind of distressed, right? Meaning they were high flyers at one point. And for whatever reason now, their business model dictates that the stocks come way down, right? We all know the story with BlackBerry. That's a perfect analogy into tech, because they just, they stuck their head in the sand for way too long. And, they kept preaching QWERTY physical keyboards and email and security when everyone else was talking about, Apple and with iOS, and Google with Android were stressing apps, and people just got tired of the limitations of BlackBerry, both software and hardware, and moved on, right? So,
but see, I guess BlackBerry can be like, they did not want risk. Although risk is, how to put it, I guess risk is slightly needed in investing, or
absolutely
it's probably greater than what most people think. But risk for me is basically, and probably anyone, in simple terms, risk is basically, I'm going to lose this money. Am I still going to be alive tomorrow if I lose this money?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like when I invested in Popcorn World, that was the first thing I told Tech Fowler. I was like, I got this money here, and to be honest with you, we don't even use this money for the household. And if we were to lose it all tomorrow, we're still able to do what we're doing now. So it doesn't hinder us in whatsoever. So that type of risk, I'm more than willing to invest in something as long as I'm able to be in that risk bracket. Now, if I mortgage the house and then invest the money, that's too much. That's too much risk for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Well, yeah.
but also
If you just talk about market
investing is
risk,
also, yeah, investing is also long term also. So
exactly.
that people got to remember it's all long term. It nothing short term when investing. Even think of education and educating yourself to do a job. It's time. It takes time to get to where you want to go.
Right.
Oh, Jay, well, it's time for you to go. Oh man, thanks for stopping by. He says it's time for me to go. I will not listen to anyone talk bad about my favorite company. Okay. Well, GameStop, they're interesting people.
I think part of the thing too is to make risk. You can make risk work for you. Like a lot of people are intimidated by the word, for example, volatility, right? So they go, oh, volatility must be bad. Not necessarily. It can work for you. You just as long as you manage the risk, the volatility can be upside volatility, right? If you say, just for example, say you buy Apple stock, say a few days or a day before, even the day of earnings, an earnings call, right? Earnings announcement, maybe a week before, whatever it is, and you have some risk management, at least something in place, whether it's hedging with options or have you've done the research, you've all the experts are saying, oh, it's, of course, we all know, we've seen it before. You can, everything can look good and right, and it can still go the other way, right, for whatever reason. But if you manage the risk, now the upside volatility, they'll talk about IV, implied volatility. Oh, well, Apple call options have I don't know, 5 or 10%. I'm just throwing out numbers, but 5 or 10% implied volatility going into earnings. And what happens is after the earnings announcement, that volatility number falls. But if you're bullish on Apple and you're right, you still want to have protect your downside. But then that's going to work in your favor, especially if you have call options plus stock, or again, you just have you're long the stock. That volatility is working in your favor. So like, people shouldn't necessarily be afraid, like paranoid about the V word, volatility. What you're ideally looking for, like the holy grail, I guess you'd call it, for lack of a better term, like a golden lost city of El Dorado, would be high alpha, low beta. So alpha is it's basically risk adjusted return. So you want a decent to high risk adjusted return with low volatility, right? So high alpha, low beta, and beta is volatility. And it's easier said than done, but it's aspirational. You're not always going to get there, but you want to strive for that. But that's where I try to stress to people, like, volatility isn't necessarily your enemy. Just because it's volatile doesn't mean it doesn't equate necessarily to bad. You can make the volatility work in your favor.
Is it I probably should put this disclaimer. I'm not like a big into this area. This is definitely Sharky's realm and whatnot. But from what you're saying about volatility, is it possible the longer time passes by, the less volatile something is?
Not necessarily. It can be, but
or the volatility, or the volatility actually evens out to where it can be like predictable over a period of time. I'm not. I'm talking like 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the line. Like, it could be more predictable the longer something goes on for volatility, right?
It depends. That volatility will definitely raise into major events, like I mentioned, like earnings announcements are probably one of the biggest. Sometimes they have an analyst day. Volatility can go higher there. Anytime there's some big announcement coming up, it could be a management change. Now, we all know those things can happen very quickly too. So you could be very sudden. Oh my God, the CFO or the CEO, the CEO suddenly announces he's leaving the company, or the CFO. Oh my God, there's an SEC investigation into the CFO. Holy crap, and then it gets really volatile. Even something like Procter and Gamble will get very volatile very quickly. Right. So there's that.
Oh my God, Procter and Gamble.
Right.
The PG, man, that company is something special, man. They own like a lot of little things.
Yes, they do.
And they make a lot. It seems like anything they touch, they seem to turn into gold somehow, as long as they bring it into their fold and whatnot. But I actually used to Procter and Gamble. I used to love hauling Procter and Gamble loads because they had a whole bunch of GM products on it. Not general merchandise. I can't remember what the name of it was, but like my load will consist of like 5, 6, 7 companies in one trailer, and it was always light, but it was always high value stuff in the load that I was always taking to DCs and stuff like that years ago. So I've always peeped Procter and Gamble. You're
a trucker. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they make a lot of money, and that was before I even knew that the whole stock thing for them.
No, but see, actually, that's awesome that you brought that up. That's a great example of and that's something like Peter Lynch and even Jim Cramer on CNBC and other people talk about. You hear they say about writers, write about what you know, right? Mm-hmm. Another way to look at it, like, even if you're not, an expert in everything with supply chain, and most of us aren't, right? But as a trucker, you're guys like you and Tech King Mike, you guys know what's on those trucks, right? So it's in. You're kind of like sometimes. On the ground. Yeah, well,
sometimes. Right. Mike has a better, yeah.
But you see enough to know, like you're kind of getting like a ground view level of supply and demand at some level. So you see enough Procter and Gamble, it's like, that's not a bad idea. Then you can start, investigating the company's stock more and seeing if it's something that's something you want to get into, especially if it pays a dividend and, you look at their debt isn't too high, good management, look at their past returns. They always say past returns aren't necessarily indicative of future results, but, look at I don't get super into chart patterns. I think it's something with, with crypto, and maybe again, something people look at more. But it's important to understand fundamentals wherever you can before you get into technicals, like, just chart pattern recognition, that kind of thing, right? But that's a great example of like Peter Lynch talked about that sort of thing in One Up on Wall Street. He says like his wife, this is something us guys would have no clue about, right? So his wife, he discovered, I don't know if you remember Legs eggs, they had these little eggs. It was the first time the ladies like Gigi and would know what this stuff is. And it's they're pantyhose. So they came up with a new way of packaging pantyhose that woman found cute and attractive, and they start flying off the shelves. So that was one of the companies that he bought for Fidelity Magellan back in the 70s, early 80s, because he's like, he did the research, the company, and eventually I believe Legs got bought up by, I don't know, Hanes or one of the other, I can't remember the other, there's a couple other big, underwear companies out there. I know there's Under Armour and stuff. But
didn't the lady for Spanx end up making $1 billion, or she turned her company to $1 billion?
Something like that. Yeah. Is that the same? Is that the same chick that was on one of the Real Housewives or something? Or I don't
know if she was on the Real House.
That Jewish woman. I can't remember
Real Housewives, but I know. Yeah. I know she's been around. She's actually made a lot of money. Septian, just to let you know, I don't think the company that I drive for does. Or the contract that I'm on under my company does not haul for Amazon right now. The company I haul for is called Southeastern Freight Lines. I don't directly work for them. My company contracts on with them, but we move a lot of small business freight, LTL, small business freight. And as a matter of fact, freight has slightly ticked up a bit, which tells me that the economy is going back in the right direction. An old truckhead told me one time, is like, if you don't see a lot of trucks on the road, then something's happening in the economy. It won't. And that's usually the highways is a good indicator. If you don't see the trucks, even if the economy is doing good, say that day, within a week or so, something's going to happen. And as a matter of fact, lately there's been more trucks on the road. So that tells me that the economy is on the way up. Right now, it might not totally reflect it in people's paychecks right now, but it will pretty soon. Southwesterns everywhere. Okay,
that's an awesome way to look at it, Cecil. I mean, and again, that speaks to the same kind of thing. You see something, and there actually a lot of fundamentalist stock analysts do. They work for the big investment banks, right? And I think they still do it to a decent degree. They'll literally, this is the same kind of thing we're talking about. Like they'll literally count the car. Like say it's a retail analyst that works for Goldman Sachs, right? And one of the stocks that they're looking at is Best Buy. Speaking of tech, right? So they'll literally go to a Best Buy parking lot or X number of Best Buys, and they'll count the number of cars that are there, and they'll count the number of people that come in, that go in with some kind of different counters, and then count how many people come out with packages. You see what I'm saying? It's that kind of, so they get an idea. So the company is telling them what they expect, in their projections, right? On earnings calls, okay, we expect, blah, 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 revenues and blah, blah, blah profits. And based on, at the end of the day, the revenues and profits are ultimately coming back to foot traffic, right? So as a way to kind of double stop and do their due diligence on to keep the company's feet to the fire, that they're not BSing when they give those kind of projected numbers, is these stock analysts will actually do that. They'll actually, look at how many people are going into and coming out of Best Buy, with packages. Then you have an idea that, okay, yeah, people are, maybe they probably will hit their numbers based on if they'll maybe, they'll do this kind of undercover surveillance over the course of maybe, I don't know, a week or two or whatever it is, maybe even per quarter or whatever it is, and they'll have a better idea of, okay, yeah, we think they will hit their numbers based on, or they may lower their numbers. They think, okay, then they're not going to hit the numbers that Best Buy is not going to hit the numbers that's projected, right? Or they may raise the numbers saying, we think they'll even do better than what we think. Best Buy is being conservative. We think they'll even do better than what they projected, because based on the foot traffic we're seeing, you see. So yeah, it all comes down. A lot of it comes down to that very physical, eyes on the ground, type of analysis. And it's great that it can help anyone, have an idea. So I always kind of tell people that if there's something you see in your day-to-day, goings about and running errands or something in your job or whatever, and you have, that's a good, if it's something, research it, see what other people are saying, check the fundamentals, and if it's something you think is, and then check the timing of it in terms of, if it's at a 52-week high, or if it's not, maybe that's a decent time to jump in. So, but then again, manage the risk, but if it could fit in, if you can fit in your portfolio, or even, again, through 503B or 401k, or a Roth or a rollover IRA, absolutely, it's something to look into,
Oh, speaking of that, I'm pretty sure you get tested this. We'll probably go ahead and end on with this topic. Just to let you guys know, 401ks, 503bs, 457s, and stuff like that, they're just tax codes for savings. It just basically protects you from paying taxes that day on something. So I learned this a couple of weeks ago, and it actually makes a lot of sense because I heard it a couple of years ago. You can have real estate into an IRA or I think it's a 401k. I don't know if it's an IRA. And you can take the profits off of your real estate, roll it back into under the 401k, and just keep it there. The only problem is you can't take it out without a major penalty, but you won't be paying taxes on it. Is that's right, Sharky?
I believe that's right. Yeah.
And so this is why a lot of these millionaires in the country today have all these retirements and stuff like that. 401ks can be good, really good, but Roth is probably the best for sure, because anything tax-free growth is amazing. Unfortunately, there's a cap on how much you can put in per year. So, but it's basically all investing too. So you can invest in the stock market under these tax codes. You can invest into in anything. You can actually just have a regular savings account under these tax codes if you want. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. So,
a lot of people think it's tax free. No, it's tax deferred. You will have
tax deferred. The only thing that's tax free is really the Roth, but everything else is basically tax deferred.
Right at 70 and a
which
half, you'll
can
have to start taking withdrawals, but at least up to that point, you don't have it's the money you put in is pre-tax, and then you'll eventually have to start taking withdrawals at 70 and a half. But that's a long way away for most people probably on this stream. And
oh yeah. Well, I got like 40 years to go.
wow.
I'm hoping to get to the point in my life where, well, not 40s, 35-ish. I hope to get to the point in my life where my whole goal and what I'm trying to do is trying to be able to retire in my 40s. I want to be clear. I want to be able to retire in my 40s, but I won't stop working. I have bigger plans. My plans are basically to keep working, building wealth, and setting up my grandchildren. I totally bypass my kids now, apparently. But I'm trying to set up my grandkids and great grandkids and whatnot. So that's my whole goal and what I'm trying to do out here in these streets, y'all. And hopefully,
admirable.
And hopefully, whatever I learn, I could pass it along to you guys, also, which will be really great. But Sharky, I'd like to thank you so much for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Big time for sure. And hopefully, I think we'll probably have to Jay Will you and be like, yo, where's that channel? Actually, no, everyone just go subscribe. Go to Sharky165 on YouTube and just subscribe.
You don't have to go right now. I'm probably gonna rename it like Shark FinTech is what I'm looking at. So I'll send out. I was telling Barry, and I don't know if I think you were on one of the streams earlier. I'm gonna start a whole new thing, and then then absolutely appreciate all the promotion you guys can give, and promote it myself through the social media and go from there. So
Miss Kimmy's like, hey, great not seeing you, Sharky. Hey, don't worry, Sharky. Like,
I will. If you want to have me back any other time, I'll be more ready next time, and I will come on camera. I'm not. I got one of those weird. It's one of those weird days today, and I was like kind of. I didn't shower earlier, and I was just kind of like, okay, okay, I'd love to come on, but I was like, and then I was eating, so I don't like eating on camera. So I'm like, all right, let me. Absolutely. Next time, promise either here or Kimmy's or wherever, you'll see my shining face. So
that'll be great. But anyways, wait, I probably should leave on some last words. Hopefully everyone got out of this today, like, between credit and investing, they're two very important things, but the one common thing that you must know between the two is like you have to be knowledgeable in both areas. Credit is a little bit more easy to get knowledge in. Investing, that's the big boy, and that can scare a lot of people, but just let you guys know you can learn. Don't try to learn everything all at once, but like just try to learn what you want to know. So yeah, it's all about learning, people. And like when you graduate high school and graduate college, the learning doesn't stop there. You're gonna have to keep learning every day. And hopefully whatever you guys learn off of this channel, when Sharky starts his channel and stuff like that, you guys will be able to pass it along to people that you know, so that we could basically just stop this cycle of I guess being oppressed or whatnot, through our money. And we can actually start using our money to actually do some powerful things out there.
It's a constant learning process. Even Jim Cramer says, people talk about buy and hold. He'll say buy and homework. Just after even after you make an individual investment in something, you should still be monitoring it for any kind of change, or any kind of any change that might change your investment thesis about it. So yeah, it's a constant learning. It's a constant learning process. I'm still learning stuff, and I've been doing this stuff a long time. So there you have it.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, from Cat's Meow, wait, I need to come up with a saying for an ending. Here we go. I am Cecil Betty, aka Mr. Catwoman. This is Cat's Meow Budget Solutions, and thank you guys so much for coming to the budget meeting tonight. Peace out.
Thanks again for having me.